Music that you play there, what is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
I just put the boy to bed and sung a nursery rhyme. The voices started in my head and none of them were mine. One was Richard, one was George, and one was Father dear. They were singing, poor Maria, come and join us here. Am I Maria Philip? Am I Maria Dad? Am I Maria Midnight? Am I Maria Mad? Maria Midnight. The next day being rather fine, we fled Grey Aberdeen and took the Deeside railway line, much favoured by the Queen. At Banchory we picnicked and I found a linnet's nest. I smashed the clutch of eggs within and I smeared them on my breast. Am I Maria Philip? Am I Maria Dad? Am I Maria Midnight? Am I Maria Mad? Maria Midnight. The next day being into town to buy some sturdy shoes, I marched him up and I marched him down until he did refuse. I heard my voice use language crude, I felt my heartbeat race. I strode to where my baby stood and I scratched him on the face. Am I Maria Philip? Am I Maria Dad? Am I Maria Midnight? Am I Maria Mad? Maria Midnight. I like it here in Sunnyside. They keep my room so clean. I very rarely go outside, just muse on what I've seen. The boy may visit twice a month. They keep my scissors blunt. There's ginger beer and there's voices here. It's everything I want. Am I Maria Philip? Am I Maria Dad? Am I Maria Midnight? Am I Maria Mad?
Right. The show is Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin. And our guest is a favorite on Irene Trudell's program on WFMU, WFMU.org for those who want to tune in. And his name is Alan Davidson. He records under the title Kitchen Cynics.
Pleased to meet you, Ralph.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
And you come all the way from Aberdeen, Scotland.
That's true, yes. I'm over primarily to play at a 3-day festival in Boston that's coming up soon. But while I'm over, I'm doing a few gigs around the New York area and visiting friends and just hanging out generally. So enjoying ourselves. So.
Good. That song, as I listened to the lyrics, seemed to be about a person going insane. Yeah,
it's most of the songs I write are about characters local to where I come from, which is Aberdeen in Scotland. And that particular one's about a woman called Maria Phillip, who was the sister of a Victorian artist called Richard Dadd, that is fairly well known in the UK. For a variety of reasons. One is that he's a fantastic artist, but the other reason was that he went quite mad when he was young and made a hit list of various people he was going to bump off and lived on a diet of hard-boiled eggs for a while. And then he did actually murder his father, for which he was incarcerated in Bedlam Mental Hospital. But he did fantastic, bizarre fantasy paintings. But his sister married an Aberdeen artist, and she too had this bipolar disorder, and ended up attacking the children. So it was really a song trying to put myself in her shoes to a certain extent, which I try to do occasionally at home. But, she's actually buried in a cemetery quite near where I stay in town, so I've seen the grave once or twice.
It's such a sweet melody, and the lyrics are something else again.
Somebody quoted to me, I can't remember who said it, but there's a saying that if you have to get bad news, it's better to get it sugar-coated. So I think that's kind of what the songs turn out like sometimes.
What else would you like to play for us?
I'll do this one, which is called the Turnstone, and it's I was researching family history fairly recently for a variety of reasons, and my family are mostly of old farming stock from the northeast of Scotland. So this is a song it's related to the land and the people, although it's not an explicit song. It's quite a loose thing. It's called the Turnstone. Throwing caution to the winds he ran, across the muddy cattle grid, of all the fields from Clat to Fotheran. It was here the heady secret hid. He never heard what the Turnstone said, before it headed back to sea. If the grass is green, the clay is red, what colour will the babe's hair be? To lie on bed of fir and sycamore, watching Mad Bess on the hill, feel the sweat run out of every pore, surely that's the sweetest thrill. You never heard what the Turnstone said, for it headed back to sea. If the grass is green, clay is red, what colour will the babe's hair be? Peewit's eye caused twitching rabbit ear. The wind was rustle bustling through. To fight, to run, to flee from everyone was all he had the wit to do. He never heard what the Turnstone said, before it headed back to sea. If the grass is green, the clay is red, what colour will the babe's hair be? Exactly.
Very pretty work.
Thank you very much.
I seem to remember reading in your bio that you started out doing recordings and then later became a performer in front of audiences.
Yes, I home recorded for I think about must have been 20 years before I actually plucked up the courage to play in front of MD. I still haven't totally found that courage, I have to say. There are times when I'm a bit nervous about it, but that was really because I promised some friends from Boston that I would play with them in Aberdeen, and then I had to build up through open mics and small concerts the confidence to go and do that. So, but I've enjoyed it since then, and I think it's probably helped with the songwriting too. I find that I'm doing songs and then honing them live and then re-recording them, which is quite a useful thing.
Yeah. What else have you got for us?
This one is called Songs of Spring. It's about unrequited love. I will put this pedal on for this one, use a bit of echo in it. When I first met my love Peggy, the snow was on the brae. She was half hour hidden, singing songs of spring. I helped her with her burden, but I knew not what to say. She made my hands feel warm, the winds did sting. I never found the words, never sent her poems of lust. Should have grabbed her round the waist and kissed her wild. Instead I stayed my hand, I played the foot and gathered dust. Some other man, he made my love with child. Now every winter since, when skies are grey and fields are bare, I watch the swirling snow and shaking firs. My back is bending daily, there is grey all through my hair, but even now my aging heart is hers.
Can you tell us, is there a story behind the name Kitchen Cynics?
Not really. Well, partly I suppose there are. I mean, some people have said that a lot of my songs are rooted in fairly simple situations, and it kind of has some relationship with kitchen sink drama plays or such like. But possibly it's just because it's a bad pun on kitchen sink, I think, and I probably got bad punning from my mother, so it's being an inveterate bad punner. I think I thought up the name. Once I'd done that, the name stuck. It was too late to do anything about it, really. So that's that. Sometimes I feel I should change it, but I think I've just got used to it, really. So.
It's catchy.
Okay, that's not so bad. But yeah, sometimes I play live with one or two other kitchen cynics, and that's quite a good cynical occasion sometimes. But,
we should tell folks how they can get in touch with you in case they want to find out more about your recordings or your performing schedule. And they can email you at kitchencynics@ecose.net, ECOSSE.net. You can write to Alan at that address. And I don't know the website by heart, but maybe you can.
Oh yeah, it's a www.myspace.com/kitchen cynics. Actually, it's probably www. Yeah, that's right. I had to think that one through. I'm not used to coming out with it off the top of my head. I think that's right, though. Yeah, it's myspace.com/kitchen cynics, all one word. So that's that. Do you want to do another one?
Yeah.
Are we okay time-wise?
Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's fine. Do you want me to introduce it first? I'll tell you the story of it. It's another song about an Aberdonian. It's a guy called John Anderson, who was an early magician, Victorian magician, and I believe Houdini was a big fan of his, Ralph. And he's credited as the first magician that pulled a rabbit out of a hat. And they say he was the first magician that caught a bullet between his teeth. He's got a grave beside a church in the centre of Aberdeen, and it says on the grave, "The Wizard of the North," which was his stage name. So I wrote this song called "The Wizard of the North," but I made him out to be a bit of a womanising scallywag, which he probably wasn't, but it made for a good song. So it's called "The Wizard of the North," and it's about John Anderson. Oops. It was such a big surprise, a rabbit from a hat. I could pull it off each time, you know. And afterwards she questioned me, my lies she just smiled at. And if I was enthralled, it didn't show. I called myself the Wizard of the North, and modesty was never my best virtue, but so what? I could baffle brains so big they'd struggle to get free, and I could lie with virgin or with slut. When I caught that bullet twixt my teeth, they had to gasp. I would have laughed, but I just bit my tongue. She quivered as I pulled her close, then slackened in my grasp. She was smitten, she was bitten, she was stung. Called myself the Wizard of the North, and modesty was never my best virtue, but so what? I could baffle brains so big they'd struggle to get free. I could lie with virgin or with slut. It seemed that all my powers as a mesmer had to fade, and I was stuck in chains beneath her ice. I asked her, did she love me? Was I an error that she'd made? In answer she just smiled and rolled the dice. I called myself the Wizard of the North, and modesty was never my best virtue, but so what? I could baffle brains so big they'd struggle to get free. I could lie with virgin or with slut. Excuse me.
An amusing little ditty.
Yeah, he's probably revolving in his grave as we chat. Poor chap. Do you want me to go on, or do you want to?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
I think we have time for two.
Okay. This one's about a 1930s Art Deco designer called Eileen Gray, who was part Scots but mostly Irish, and I think the Irish are very proud of her at the moment. She was quite an unusual character for her times. I don't want to go into too many details, this being a family show, Ralph, but I wrote this song about her. She really had a very lonely life and spent 60 years undiscovered, but just towards the end in her 80s, I think she was made a bit more of. There's lots of things I could say, but I won't, just to save time. So I'll just do this song. It's called Rue Bonaparte, which was the street in Paris where she spent, I think, 60 years of her life anyway. It should be all right for that. Once I was an alchemist of wood. I could turn the deepest black to blue. I could sparkle gold or silver hued. I'd wrap my lotus form so tight round you. They said I was a creature of my times. I was soft as silk and hard as nails. My sensuality, it burned like lime. I could drink red wine and piss in pails. You entered slowly Sunday morning light. I measured you with rulers on the floor. We laughed a lot which didn't seem quite right. In the bedroom, in the bathroom more. Well, I'm here now, should you wish to see. 60 years on grey Rue Bonaparte. Experienced in solitude, that's me. as I apply this lacquer to my heart. Thanks, sir.
Cool one.
Yeah, quite enjoyed doing that one.
Well, we just have time to say thank you for being our guest on
Thank you.
Horses Sing None of It.
Thank you
all
very
the
much.
way from Aberdeen, Scotland. And we could give the website address one more time.
Okay. Yep.
www.myspace.com /Kitchen Cynics.
That's the one. Yeah, thanks, Al. This is it's a cheerful song to end with. It's about a ferry sinking in my hometown and the 32 Aberdonians drowning in 1876. It's called the Tory Ferry, and Ralph and I have a go at that one. Oh, my fault, Ralph. Sorry. Do apologise. I usually do that capped at the second fret, but moving up one, so Ralph's just currently thinking of how you can get me back for that later on. But sorry about that. We'll start that one again. It's a Tory Ferry disaster. Just last night I held my loving Annie in my arms. The moon had almost filled the window frame. She was soft and scented, and I partook of her charms. Noise was loud enough to wake the child. But Annie said, "Love, do not worry, I will soon be back in